The record show all selectmen are present. Consent agenda warrants, number 9, 9/24/2024, number 10, 9/24/2024, the library. Number payroll register, number 39, 9/26/2024, number 40, 10/3/2024, number 41, 10/10/2024.
I'll make a motion to accept the AP and the payroll registers as read.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the payroll registered and AP warrant as read. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. Application, to award an application for Bingo Beano to the American Legion Post number 39.
Yes, as you know that their building has been condemned and they are having their bingo and beano in the Somerset Abbey, but they are still the licensee of that bingo and beano, so.
All right, looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All right, a motion and a second to grant the application for Bingo Beano to American Legion Post 39. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, motion carries. Acceptance of the meeting, of the select board meeting on September 23rd, 2024.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the select board meeting on September 23rd, 2024.
All right, a motion and a second to accept the meeting minutes of the select board meeting on September 24th, 2024. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. All right, old business, number 1, communication tower roof repairs have been completed.
Yes, it was $2,000 and it was Roof Solutions, and that's been done.
Everything's complete.
Yep, and it was paid out of ARPA.
All right, number 2, revolving loan program and or matching grant program forms and format.
So I was able to find in the laptop the forms that had previously been used by Tim Curtis, and I am, if you guys have no objection to using those applications, I will use the same application form, change the dates, update it. It looks like they were issued in the spring and were given till late spring until the beginning of August. So we'll just adjust the dates for like a 3-month time period, if that works.
So we're looking at starting it this fall or
Yep,
November, December type of thing.
probably the 1st of November,
Looking to maybe get them back by
the end of
December,
December.
January,
Yep.
and awarding them after that, so if somebody wants to get going.
Yep,
Okay,
and so the end of January
all right,
to award them.
okay.
All
Any
right.
questions for the town manager on that?
Do I need a motion to follow that schedule, or?
Nope, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Any questions on that, anybody? No? Okay, we'll get the information out to everybody by the usual manner, I would suggest, say,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
And maybe bring that stuff to us for the next meeting, so we have that, so we have a copy of that,
Yes, absolutely. Release by end of October.
Oh, a lot of paper here, I don't know why.
It's the Plymouth engineering study.
I didn't even get to that, okay, so. Alright, number 3 is the Plymouth Engineering, Structural Engineering Study, the draft report. And I'm sure everybody's seen that, all that email to us. Any questions?
It's still a draft, it's not the final report, but they are saying that there's asbestos and lead paint and mold were found in the town office. Asbestos and mold was found in the library. The ADA ramp for the library will need to be replaced. The school is structurally sound, but there are plumbing and electrical issues that it's just dated. And also mold and asbestos was found in this building as well. So, East Madison Fire Station is in good condition, minor concerns, and the highway garage is in fair condition, no major changes, just continue to maintain.
Alright, so is this something that we can put on an agenda for the next time and kind of go through it and kind of get some idea, and you can maybe get some idea from your department heads on where we had, because in conversation with Julie, she's taking care of that in the library, I believe.
Mhm.
That's been remediated.
Yep.
Except for the ramp, so we have to figure out that part. We have to figure out that, how we're gonna deal with that. And then, so we can go through, maybe have some ideas of where we're going, and we can get some prices for the next budget, I would say.
Okay.
Anybody? We don't have to do it all at once, I mean, we can do
Right.
a little bit at a time.
Yep.
All right, anything else on that?
No.
And if anybody wants a copy, you can get one at the town office.
Yeah, or I can email it.
Yep. Long. All right, number 4, setback standards.
So one of the questions that was brought up at the last meeting was setbacks being 15 feet. And it is in the ordinances under chapter 165. Must be set back a minimum of 15 feet from the side and the rear property lines. And from the front, it's a line of distance that's determined by the road commissioner, and that was actually amended in June of 2017.
So what you're telling me is that the road commissioner decides what is beyond the right-of-way? So there's no set ordinance, say 5 feet, 10 feet, or 15 feet, is that correct?
No, it says, must be set back a minimum of 15 feet from side and rear, and from the front line, a distance to be determined by the road commissioner, but not less than 10 feet.
So 10 feet's the minimum,
Yeah.
okay?
Can I have clarity on what that 15 feet is for? Is it around the whole perimeter of the
I
property?
believe so, except the front.
And what's the purpose of that?
I would say room in between. I mean, I don't really know. That would be a planning board question.
And who would own that? The town itself or like the adjacent property owners?
No, you'd still own the property, it just would be, you couldn't build within that 15 feet. It's a kind of a buffer,
Okay.
and
For
that
the
was,
use of the town if necessary in the future?
No.
For use of the town if
No.
necessary in the future?
no, just a buffer between property. So my house and your house would be a buffer between the
Okay,
two.
understood. Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, I have had some contractors come to me and wanna know why we can't make it 5 feet. And my term to them would be go to the planning board and start with them and see what you could do. I mean, I don't, 5, 15, I don't really know what the answer is, but that's, so. we
It
could
seems fair.
Yeah, we
It
could start
does.
with the planning board and see what, so I know all our places up on Vaughn Street and Gray Street and all those streets, there's not 15 feet
Yeah,
between boundary lines. So, I mean, that must have been something that came about for some reason, I don't know, anybody,
Do we have the date of when that got implemented?
17, I think it was.
2017, June of 2017.
If I remember right, there was a building, somebody was building a garage or an existing house or whatever. I don't remember where it was here in town, but it was about a building that was being built too close to the property line and the neighbor's house, I believe it was right up against the house,
Okay,
if I remember right. And that's how that 15 feet became.
yeah, well,
We are talking about Park Street, right? Is that?
no, we're talking about everybody.
Every property in
Every
Madison.
property, yeah, no.
May I bring up Park Street or no?
Right now, no.
Okay.
Anything else on that? Do we want to go back to the planning board and ask for shorter distance? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's up to the board, or something we can think about. Mr. Woody?
I was on the board back when this was implemented, and it's like Jeff said. we had a lot of complaints about people wanting to build, right, I mean, it'd be right off, the berm of the foundation would be on the person's property, that was that close. I mean, 5 feet is not very much. So we had a number of concerns on it, and that's why they went to 15 feet.
I guess my question to the planning board would be, have they had any complaints to them?
Well, I know at least one contractor that has complained.
Yeah.
And there are probably others, but,
All right, we will bring that one up again later.
okay. So do you want me to prepare something from the board to the planning board to,
I don't think we need it right now.
Okay.
I think we gotta keep this in the back of our mind, though. People are asking about it, we have to maybe deal with it.
Okay.
All right, items of communication, department head reports, we have reports all over the place here. Road commissioner's here, if he would like to give his.
I do. It's been a pretty busy month. Got what I could get done in a month. And I would like to ask Denise if she would please let me do my job. You contacted Maine Local Roads last week concerning a pedestrian sign. You CC'd me on a question, and I had said to you that I would get on it when I had a second, because I've had a very busy month to get things straightened out, and the sign at the time wasn't really the top of my list, and I would appreciate it if you would let me do my job and don't be making phone calls or sending emails.
oh, my apologies.
Okay.
I had no intention to step on your toes.
Okay. The other thing, I would like to know who authorized the digging of Upper Nickel Street by the junior high. I came in yesterday morning, and there was a trench dug across the road. To my understanding from Manticore, the people that are doing the digging on Main Street for the water line, they were asked to dig across the street to hook up a temporary line for a dead-end line for a hydrant for the rec department. I had absolutely no knowledge of that, other than from Mr. Roy a couple days before. No road opening permit has been issued. Who gave the authorization to dig the street up?
Wasn't me.
I believe there's a conversation between Joe Hayden and Matt Demers.
Okay, so why wasn't anybody else notified, such as myself, so that, because that is a town street, it's not a DOT road.
Mhm. Honestly, I didn't know that there was a road permit that would be needed, sorry. I did not know that.
Okay, so you know of it, you knew of it then?
I knew of the plan, yes, but
Okay,
it was the water district's plan, not the town's plan.
okay,
So I didn't think that we had any authority over the project to begin with.
when it is on a town street, it is, but where it's not a DOT road. My last conversation with Mr. Hayden and Danny was that was not going to take place until next year when the ice skating rink got moved up there. We are still going to use 55 West, I'm kind of confused here what's going on. So we're using 55 Weston Avenue this year, or we're using Main Street this year?
I thought it was still up in the air at this point.
I think the rec director said it's gonna be Weston Avenue this year. We're not quite
Yes,
to do
and
it
I
yet.
think that the issue of why the spigot was gonna be placed this year was because Manta Construction was working on Nickel Street to begin with. So they were doing the water district project, whatever, changing the 6-inch to 12-inch pipe, and it was a matter of convenience to have it done at the same time. As I understand it, that's the conversation between Joe Hayden and Matt Demers.
Okay, so that line is not part of that project, so who was paying for it? Is that us, the rec, or where's that money coming from, or?
The-
Well, somebody's gotta pay for that. That, probably 50 feet of water line to be installed. So who's
From what I-
paying? Are we getting sent a bill, or what's taking place here?
From what I understand, between the conversation between Matt Demers and Joe Hayden, Matt said, and I need to find the email, that it was, I don't wanna misspeak because people have a tendency to use my words against me, so let me find the email to be more specific on that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Understood.
No matter who, whether the water district or who, they want it done, they still have to go through the road commissioner to get this done.
Yep.
I
Road
don't
opening.
understand that such a flaw could happen. I don't know, Denise, would you please look into this some more for us, get us some answers on who went ahead with this and why?
It seems like, so the road commissioner, it was always the road commissioner does the road openings, which is the big issue there, partially, right? Is you weren't notified because you didn't do a road opening. It seemed like the water district should know that.
That's what I was trying to.
Because they used to always come, they knew they needed to come to the town office, and it was up to the road commissioner to initiate the road opening. And from that point on, the town would be notified of what was going on.
Well, it's like the road
So that-
commissioner says, this work isn't being done for nothing, who's paying for it?
That's why I'm just saying, that would have initiated, whoa, what's going on here? And that would have started the ball rolling right there with questions being asked at that point. Because the water district should have known to begin with. They always did come in.
I would think they would. Lloyd?
Yeah, look, I'm on the water district board, and I'm as unaware of this project as any of you sitting up there are, so I'm not sure what transpired. I can understand the logic behind doing it while Eddie Mantis was doing that work. But that doesn't mean it was appropriate to circumvent the road opening process. I think
You can't do that.
it's a cliche, but I think communication is key to this.
Destroyed.
Now, according to Mantor, they're not paving that in. I guess that would be the bigger issue before the asphalt plant shuts down. Mantor's not planning on paving that trench in. It's the cost of whoever authorized it, and that's the confusion, is we got buses coming in and out of there, and it's hectic now with the structure on Main Street. I guess, how long is that gonna be open for, and how long is this gonna take to decide who's gonna pay for the cost of the paving that trench in? Because according to Mantor, when I talked to Eddie, that is not planned they're not planning on paving it in. That's not part of the Main Street project, that's what he said.
Alright, so can you figure that out, please, talk to the water district, find out who's gonna pay for it, we want it done before the plant closes,
Okay.
and who's gonna pay for it. And I can't believe that we cut the road without a road opening and knowing who's gonna pay for that, so.
Well, I think that it's time to look at that. I know some of these ordinances are outdated and need to be upgraded, and that road opening permit is pretty vague. I think that we need to spend some time and revamp that a little
We had
bit.
it over here, correct?
Pardon?
We had it over here a couple of years ago, probably more than that now. Remember I can't remember who was paving, and they opened the road up.
Yeah, that was for water. Is that for water or sewer?
That was water,
Yeah, it was a private contract.
They went over here and opened the road up,
Yeah.
and we told them not to, and they said, we're gonna open it, and no
Correct.
big deal. And they did it. If you remember that, I mean, it was on
I do, I remember, I don't remember who the contractor was, but I do remember they went ahead and opened it anyways and put new services in and did a very poor job because all the trenches are settled over the course of the winter.
Right.
And there were speed bumps every 50 feet.
Right, so you are probably correct that we do need to look at those ordinances and see if we can bring those up to date a little bit more than they are. All right. Mr. Fire Chief, anything?
No,
Okay.
we're gonna discuss that survey down the road, correct?
Which survey?
From the
Oh,
Plymouth Engineering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
gonna take some time, I would think.
yeah, that's gonna take a lot of time. Sky, anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, election going fine?
So far, so good. We have about 400 people who have absentee voted so far.
All right, that's awesome. That's good. All right, living well report we have. Town manager's report on expenses and revenues. We have that.
Yep. so-
Questions, anybody? All right, Land for Maine Futures Program, working farmland project in Madison.
So we were notified that the Williams Farm, partially located in the town of Madison, has been selected as a finalist for one of the projects that they're doing on agriculture and conservation. And Lands for Maine's Future was gonna work with the applicants before they finally approve any of the selections of who's gonna get what.
All right.
It's just to make you aware, there's no action needed.
Okay, Somerset County Community Benefit Matching Grant Program.
Somerset County puts out twice a year a community benefit matching grants. And the fall grants are, the fall grant application is out and the responses are due by Friday, November 22nd to be considered.
Those are available on the website. Do you have anything,
I don't know if they're available on Somerset website,
what
but,
about our town?
yes, they are on the county website.
Okay.
Yep,
And those are
and
for,
we can put a link on the
those are
town.
for individuals or for business?
I believe they're businesses.
Well, when I looked at that, what ones in the past that had gotten it, it was businesses, but it was also like, I almost thought like one of our departments, like just say rec or something, they could put in for a grant because if you get something upcoming, which would be that ice skating rink.
Something that would benefit the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might be one for the ice skating rink.
Yep.
Okay. I think Chrissy has already sent the packet to Danny Morshed,
Okay, all right.
so.
All right, let's see. Report on joint boards priority setting workshop on 10/9/2024.
So we met for about 3 hours just to discuss what the priorities were for the town and have some group discussion. And so I posted some notes on that, the exercise, the responses from the exercise that we did at the beginning of the workshop. Some information on the school resource officer and the ACO regionalization, and then the department head concerns and comments. And we're waiting for other people to respond on the calendar before we set the other date, but I think it's gonna be November 20th or the 21st. It'll be published at the town office, it'll be published on the website, it'll be published on the town sign, open meeting to everybody, so. And if anybody, I made extra copies, but if somebody didn't get a copy and they want one, just let me know and I'll email it to you.
Okay? Mr. Roy?
this is the meeting that was, that happened at the basement of the SRS schools, this is the meeting you guys are referring to. One, what would be the reasoning that the select board, the planning board, and the advisory board would meet into the basement of the SRS school?
I just thought it was a bit, I don't know, big enough space, I guess.
The location was more suited for a working group. We had a bigger space to meet and spread out and have tables and kind of a space that was available to us.
Is there a reason why there was no agenda that was posted 5 days in advance of the meeting?
There was no agenda, it was a workshop.
You can't have a workshop if the majority of the board meets in one spot. That's the gray area.
Well, that's what,
When there's
that's what
3 or more
MMA
members,
that's
you
what
have to call
MMA
a
is
meeting
telling
to order.
us.
Huh?
MMA is telling us that we were fine with it.
Really?
Yep.
3 different committees and boards that have,
Make no
Chairman.
decisions, though.
they don't have to call the meeting to order.
We would make,
A workshop is considered a public forum, a public meeting, but it does not require an agenda. It just requires a public notice. And the public notice was that it was out on the town sign for at least 2 weeks before it happened, that there was gonna be a joint boards session with the planning and the select and the advisory boards on such and such a date and at such and such a time and the location. So the notice was given, there was no agenda, it was a workshop. So,
alright, Mr. Gopi.
Yes, was the selectmen at the meeting too?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, can I just add to it that I was the one, I did bring, it was brought up to me, I brought it up to Denise, she went to MMA, and MMA said what we had done was okay, because by her posting it on that sign, electronic sign, it covered it. Should we do more? Probably, because obviously the public has concerns about it. So from here on in, when we have those meetings, it's just gonna be public up on the sign, and it'll go out on, there's gonna be like a notice in the municipal building where every notice ever gets posted for a meeting and stuff. But MMA did say clearly that we were okay, there was nothing illegal about what we did, even though, and she made it quite clear, there was all 5 of us there. We did not sit at the same table. There was 2 at different tables, and there was 1 at another table. None of us sat at the same table. And there wasn't, the only other board that had enough for a quorum was the planning board. The advisory board had people there, but not enough for a quorum for them. So here on forward, it will be done with more attention to posting it and getting it out there, so people are quite aware of what's going on and where the meeting will be,
Thank you.
and that all the boards will be there.
Alright, okay, new business, cemetery committee assignments, until we establish a committee by ordinance. Should like to have Heidi Burrows, Mike Ricker, Jim Elias, Judy Manta, Bobby Bishop, Melanie Weston, and a member of the select board. Any member would like to volunteer? No volunteers? Alright, Sean will volunteer. Alright, so do we need to accept this? We need to accept this committee?
yes.
Okay. Alright, we'll give a motion to accept the committee as I stated.
Motion to accept the cemetery committee assignments as stated. Do I need to read the whole?
No.
And we can do this, and then we don't have to take it to a town meeting, okay, I just wanted, I didn't know. I didn't know the process. Okay, I'll second that.
Alright, we have a motion and a second to name Heidi Burrow, Mike Ricker, Jim Elias, Judy Manta, Bobby Bishop, and Melanie Weston, and Sean Bean to the committee. Yes.
If Judy Manter can't do it, can we just put that to be a person from the Historical Society?
Well, if she can't do it, just come back to us and we'll change it. Alright, all those in favor? All in favor? Alright. It is a committee. Okay.
Thank you.
Heidi, can you give us some information on the paid family medical leave act?
Yes, to continue our discussion from the other night, as of January 1st, we are required by the state of Maine to take 1% of everybody's payroll, and that is going to be part of the fund that's going to be collected that will start going, be open for, I guess, people to enroll in or to take as early as May of 2026, if they can get enough funding. If you go, I thought these were numbered, but they're not. The slides were numbered because this was a PowerPoint. I didn't want to have to do that for you, but page 5, one of the questions the other night stated that contributions to PMFLM fund, the contribution per employee is 1% of an individual's wage rate, split between the employee and the employer. That is what I was saying the other night. That was what I brought up. I know that there was some question about that from Tim, but that is exactly what it is. It's split between the employer and employee because we have more than 15 employees in the town. The second page I gave you, which was the other handout, is actually the payroll from last January 2024 to June 30th, 2024. That is kind of what we paid without any of the highway. Because the highway at this point will not be pulled out because they have their contract until June of 26. So between the, let me start again. So based on that, I kind of just estimated, it's hard to tell what we're gonna put out for overtime and whatnot between now and then. But I did put in the park and rec, or the rec director's wage, half a wage based on some numbers, and kind of come up with 350,000 is a ballpark of what the the payroll would be from June 1st through June 30th of next year when we have to start paying in. It is done quarterly, so it'll be collected from January to March. We have to pay in April. Then it's collected from April to June, and we have to pay in July. Same thing as like unemployment. What the board needs to decide is, are we going to, because it's not budgeted this year in payroll, are we going to cover the full 1% until the next town meeting or the next budget, or are we going to take the 0.5% from the employee?
So when was the contract, when was that approved?
June of 23.
So I was reading in another paper, is there anything before October of 23?
Oh, you mean, it was before October of 23.
Okay, in what I was reading, it isn't in here, but what I was reading, it said if the contract was before October of 23, then they don't have to pay.
They do not have to pay until their contract
Well,
is up.
That will be negotiated by,
Correct. That'll be negotiated by the next time it's opened.
okay.
It is highly recommended that we don't amend it and reopen now, because that's just opening a can of worms. We're better off not collecting from them, and the town will not be made to collect from, in their lieu. So it's like they don't even exist until their next contract.
Okay.
The town will pay the 1% for each of them.
Not for the highway,
Not
no,
for the
but this is only for the other employees that are
Highway
not,
is not gonna be getting this at all then until their next contract.
Correct.
is up.
they won't have anything drawn from that.
But this right here just says the contribution per employee is 1% of an individual's wage rate, split between the employee and employer. So that sounds to me, right, it's kind of clear. It's 1% and it's split.
Correct.
And so that's what I don't know what anybody else thinks, but that's what we should do. That's what I think. because that's what it says.
Yeah, we can make a motion in a second and do that. All right, any other questions for Heidi?
I was under the impression it was either or,
Only if you have less than 15 people.
but
Employees.
we
We
have,
have more than 15 because they
So-
consider all of, like, even the counselors,
yeah,
the fire department, any of the stipends that are received from any of our board members, those are all employees.
yes.
Yep.
So, it isn't automatic that we take that 1% from the employee.
No, it's gonna be
It's-
50% from the employee, 50% from the employer.
Point
But there's an option there, isn't there,
Yeah.
Where the town could pay the full 1%
until,
until, and that was what was discussed the other night.
until the next town meeting?
Correct.
Yes.
That was
We're
one of the
ones
things
The
that,
town meeting, we're the ones that's paying more. If we pay 1%, that's coming out of our budget. You know what I mean? So the 0.5 is coming out of ours, and 0.5 is on the employee.
I understand that part of it, but I'm wondering how many of our employees understand this, that they know that they're gonna have to pay that 0.5%.
I believe they've been given
They've been
information.
given information, they know.
They know that's coming.
I have been very forthcoming since I found out about this in May.
Yes.
Well, when I came on actually in April. And they have received notices and a letter. Bangor Savings, I attached actually the notice that they just sent us as of the 30th, telling us about the Family Leave Act. So this is the first time that Bangor Savings has even mentioned this to us. So they're really not leaving a lot of time, but it's not even finalized yet. It won't even be finalized until December. And that's when the final rules will be set. But they're starting to collect January 1st.
Is it mandatory?
It is mandatory.
It is
The
mandatory.
employees have to have it, they can't opt out. I
And
didn't,
employers can't opt out either.
right, I know that we couldn't, but I didn't know if employees could opt out.
No,
Technically, they're charging us 1%. And they're allowing us to
to take 0.5%
0.5
from
the
payroll.
employee. So, okay, yeah.
So what happens to the 2 employees that were just hired in the last 2 months up the highway that are not in the union
They're gonna
contract?
have to pay the 1%.
Okay, so
Or the
what
0.5%.
happens when their probation period is up and they go into the union?
They're not full-time.
Yeah, they are.
Who are we
They're
talking
not year
about
round,
there?
they're seasonal.
Talking about the 2 people we just hired, Peter and Brent.
Okay. All right, okay, not the seasonal ones, the
No,
full-time.
no, the full-time ones. They'll be, actually, they're not in the union yet, so they're not part of the contract. They will be paying the 1%.
But what happens when they go into contract?
When they go in the contract, we'll have to find out from the union. We'll have to talk to Matt, and he'll have to talk to the union rep about it.
I guess the question should be asked before that to probably these people, the state, on what we do with that. Those 2 people haven't been, I would consider them union people.
How long do they have for?
They have 6-month probation, one had just started 3 weeks ago, and one started back in,
August 5th,
So it's 6-month probation.
right.
yep. One doesn't come off until February, the other one won't come off until like
I guess
April
you're
or
gonna
May.
get, I think you'd have to ask this paid family medical leave act, whoever is administering it will have to tell us that. If their group is not paying,
Well, this is, basically their answer to these questions are, we need to talk to our own payroll attorney or labor law attorney.
okay, so let's
Do
ask.
we have set?
Let's ask Tara Savage then,
Okay.
what we do.
Okay.
There's nothing else we can do, right? We have to, they're gonna.
They're
that's
they're
gonna be
not, they don't wanna take responsibility for
That's gonna
answering
be their
this.
answer, then
Yeah.
we have to seek counsel and ask the question. I mean, it makes a difference to those people.
Well, it does, and I think it would be up to you as select board to address that. Do we want to give them, say, let's just void it for them for those couple months till and call it good, or do you take it from them and then give it back to them? I guess I instead of getting hold of Matt, I would probably, Tara Savage, I would, because he's still the town lawyer, right? I would, personally, I would just
I think we have to follow.
opt out of it.
I think we have to follow the law, though. I mean, it's like it's a law. I mean, we
Yeah.
have to do it, so it's not like we have an option. I
You,
think we need to have clarification on what that is gonna be, so, just so that we're doing it the right way.
Yeah, I think so.
I just think we need to.
the union rep that represents them must deal with this in other
Chris-
places, so.
Chris Wires.
We
You might
ask
have an
him.
understanding. I'm sure if
Yeah, it's
they've all got a probationary.
So I'll ask Chris Wires before I ask Matt Tarasevich.
Who's the,
I'd ask both.
who's the shop?
Well, shop steward, you should go through the shop steward first,
So Peter Dow,
yes.
okay.
And have him get a hold of Matt. Squire.
Chris, yeah.
Chris, have him get a hold of Chris and find out what, he must be doing it somewhere else. And I'm sure that every place has the same issue, I would think.
Okay.
So does Peter need to get a hold of Chris tomorrow, or?
Has Peter had a conversation with Heidi about it yet, do you know?
That I do not know.
So I would start there. Peter and Heidi should have a conversation about what's coming down the pike to make sure that, for those two employees, that Peter knows what he needs to ask Chris.
Okay.
When does the contract come up?
June of '26.
All right, so our question tonight, we don't necessarily have to make a decision tonight, I don't think. We can wait until the next meeting about the 0.5%. So, I mean, do we want to make a decision tonight?
I'm ready to,
It's up to you.
Heidi, do you think any of the changes are gonna come out of that, towards that, before we get to that date?
The last questions I just got, because they actually just sent out a kind of a brief follow-up to all the questions that everybody's been asking the last month and a half. And when I read through it today, it's basically kind of the same questions everybody else has. You know, they want to know, you know, like, does camp counselors have to pay in? Substitute teachers, are the benefits taxed? You know, when will an employee be notified and how will they be notified when an employee applies for leave? It's just kind of generic things. I don't think it's going to have anything to do with severe changes or major changes from what is in place right now.
Roy,
Al, I think you gotta find out, no matter if they're in a contract or not, they gotta follow the law. And I think the school budgeted for that 0.5% from January till their June 30th. So I think that you gotta pay that 0.5% on the employer side of it. You
not for
could
the
ask
ones in
Joan
the con-
Corson, but I'm pretty sure it's budgeted for the
not for
school.
the ones in the contract, though.
I'm pretty sure that it affects everybody under the teacher contract, the support.
Right, because the teacher the teacher contract was approved after October
Oh,
of '23.
That would be the difference then.
There's a difference, or before,
I think it would have been after.
after October. Because they did check on that, I believe.
Yeah.
And
I know they budgeted the 0.5%, so.
Yeah. All right, so what is our wishes? Hold off? Make a motion? Take a break.
I would make a motion that we pay the 0.5% and the employee pay the other 0.5%.
All right, we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to pay, the town of Madison to pay 0.5% for family medical leave, paid family medical leave law. And the employees, except for our contracted employees, pay the other 0.5%. Any other questions? Anything else, Eddie? All in favor? Opposed? Opposed? All right, I will vote in favor. Let's move it.
Okay. Do I need to record who was opposed?
Yes. Well, probably should do both, probably. All right, citizens' concern, this was brought up to the town manager, and the town had a policy or ordinance regulating toll bridges on the bridge, toll booths on the bridge. The answer is no, we do not. Did you find anything out, Jeff?
I couldn't find anything other than my memory, which was pretty vague.
Recollection back and talking to people is that we don't control the bridge, number one. Number two, we have two sides of the bridge, so both sides would have to be in kind of concurrence on doing things. What we've asked them to do is to notify Somerset County Sheriff and to notify the other towns. So Anson says, come and let Madison know, let the sheriff know, and then, you know, some of the points this lady makes, or the person complaining, bringing this to our attention, makes that it's big trucks and it's dangerous and all those things are true. And I guess once you decide you want to have a toll bridge, you have kind of taken those concerns on yourself. So we don't have anything, and I don't foresee us having anything. But
I
anybody
thought that didn't we make the organization fill out a form, and then the selectmen were going to decide who got to stay there? It was a one-time, once a year. It was once a year, notify the sheriff's department, because I remember the VFW, the American Legion were here, and they didn't think it was fair because one group would get it and not the other.
To my knowledge, what's happening right now is that they do have to notify the town, they do have to notify the sheriff's department. They do have to wear fluorescent when they're out there. This has been going on forever, and 99% of the money that's taken off of that toll bridge is for school, that
Organization fee.
Yeah, non-profits.
yeah, it's non-profit, and it's for the, most of it goes to the kids, most all of it, for scholarships. Because I know right now, between the VFW and the Legion and Masonic Hall in Northampton, there is a rotation between those organizations. Like one would have Memorial Day this year, and one would have the 4th of July, what have you. And then they rotate it. And all that money that comes in, it goes basically for scholarships, as long as I've known those things going on out there. I mean, I've stood on that bridge myself, and I have yet to find the traffic so heavy I was worried about getting run over, you know, across there. But, you know, it just takes one person to wag the tail of the dog before he starts barking. But it's been going on forever, and to me, it's a very good, beneficial project that goes on for the town and for scholarships. That's all I can say. Am I against it? No, I think it ain't broke, and I'm not ready to fix it.
All right, so let's let that go by. Any other citizens' concerns? Mr. Roy?
I don't know how to bring this up, Alps, so I'm just gonna say it the best way I can say it. It's my understanding that the town had cut a check for $10,000 back in January to the property owner of 2 Old Point Avenue. Never got into his hands, but my question is what happened to the check, and why didn't it get sent out, and what was the check for?
Can you help with that?
I can. It was the deposit that was going to go on the purchase and sale agreement for 2 Old Point Avenue, that had been approved by the select board in December. And the check never went out because the select board changed its mind and said not to move forward.
All right, that,
Who was gonna, who authorized the $10,000 check to be cut, if it wasn't the select board, just,
It was the select board.
you guys changed your mind?
on buying, yes.
And it never got signed, the AP warrant never got signed with that check being authorized to go out. It was only signed with the understanding that that check was never to go out, never to be signed.
That, Chris, that decision was made at the public hearing we had here a week ago.
No, the
No,
one,
I'm talking
we're
about
talking about the first time we talked about it, which was back in December.
All right, excuse me, all right.
So it never went out because
No.
you guys didn't sign the warrant for it to go out, but it got cut. It was gonna go out, but it didn't.
We decided not to pursue it.
So,
We decided not to pursue it, that's, yeah.
so did you have a purchase sale agreement back in January with him? And then
In
you guys couldn't
December.
get the money, so you had to rip that purchase sale agreement up? Or,
We decided not to move forward with it, not to bring it to the, not to
but
bring
was
it
there
to
a
the
sale
town.
and purchase agreement back in January now?
What's that?
Yes.
Was there, I don't think.
Was there a sale and purchase agreement back in January to buy that building?
It was in December, and yes, there was, and it was never executed because the select board changed its mind.
You know, that owner spent many, many years as a business owner, supported a lot of different residents in this town. We've been jerking this guy around for two purchase sale agreements now. And I think that it should be a public apology to that man. We've been just stringing him along. This is the second time that you guys have done a purchase sale agreement and then not follow through with anything. And you guys really need to come to have a public hearing to get what we had last Monday night out on the open floor before you guys go and sign for a $600,000 building. And I really think that
Moving forward, we will.
I hope so. But this, it's not fair to him.
Okay, any others? Mr. Martins?
Yeah, is this okay to bring up Park Street, and the
Sure.
property that you guys own
I'm
there?
not gonna say we're gonna get any answers, but I'm gonna bring it up, John.
Do we have a date on when that's gonna go up on the,
Well, we've run into a problem because the laws are changing, and how we have to handle the proceeds from that. And the state is changing those, and these town manager went to a, thing at, when they had an MMA convention. And so, what we had done in the past was we would put it out to bid, we would get our money back for taxes, for electric, for whatever else, sewer, water, whatever else was there, and whatever proceeds were left would stay with the town. And I believe we have a fund that is still in place for, I can't remember what it's called.
Sale, for closed property sale.
And we'd leave that money in there. Well, the rules are changing that whatever money is extra now has to go back to the landowner.
Understood.
All right, so we have to have policies to handle that. We don't have that right now.
Right,
So that isn't coming up in the near future.
all right.
Is that too?
We had discussed doing it, and, we have to change our ordinance before we can do that. The ordinance won't be changed until June. It has to be listed, we have to offer it, we have to try to find a broker to list it. And if 3 brokers refuse to list it, then we have to go through a different process. And so there's a whole learning curve of what needs to happen now. It's not as simple as just putting it in the newspaper and putting it out to bid. There's, because of this Supreme Court decision that has caused all these changes, there's a lot more steps that have to be followed now.
Understood. All right. So it is gonna go to the Realtor first, that's what it sounds like, right?
That's what it sounds like,
It has
we get
to.
these ordinance in place.
Right.
We've
And then,
got to amend our ordinance, but while we're in the process of amending our ordinance, we can still follow what the new law at the state level is as far as putting it out through a Realtor. And if 3 Realtors deny us and say, no, there's no money in it for me, I'm not gonna take this sale, then we can put it out to bid as normal. But there's like a 12-month period that it has to sit, so.
May I make another request?
Yep.
So now it goes to a Realtor, and you guys wanna get 27 for it, right? And the Realtor says you're not gonna get that for it, right? So now, will you guys entertain offers? Is that in our ordinance that we put in place?
Our problem is that we have other people that are tied into this.
Sure.
Right? We have the sanitary, and I believe the sanitary actually has a lien on the property.
Right.
The sanitary can lien the property. The water does not, and our friends at Madison Electric don't have a lien on it, but we like to make them whole.
Right.
So I don't know the answer to that. We'd have to discuss that, I guess, and probably it's gotta be part of that ordinance, I would say.
Yes.
Right, and another thing is, I don't know if we could do that, let's say the Realtors don't wanna do it and don't wanna take it on, and now it comes back on you guys. If there's offers from outside, like Madison, could like the townspeople know what those numbers are to where we could like potentially outbid them? If we're actually a town resident?
I don't think so.
I think the bids are sealed.
Bids have always in the past been sealed.
I just heard that you guys sold that place over there for $1 to somebody who had money. That's why I'm like,
Well, we have a plan though for it. I mean, for that piece of property, we've had many people come to us.
sure,
And nobody has had the plan or the money
right,
to build something.
right.
So, I mean, he
And
had
I
a plan.
understand why you did it, I just wasn't privy to it.
Yeah.
I was in my little cave over there on the river road,
Yeah.
just keeping to myself.
They had a plan, and they had money to back the plan up, and that's, in the past, we've not had people who have come to us who have had, or wanted to put the money into it, that
Sure.
they did.
Understood completely. But now that I'm out of my hole, I might have the money that I can like do stuff like that. And another thing, if I may, this whole deal, I would like an update with Acadia, and where they're at in the process of,
I have had no contact with Acadia, and I don't believe it, I don't know if the town manager has or not.
I haven't had any contact for a while. They're looking at the animal hospital, and they're working whatever they need to work with them, but I'm not involved in that at all.
yeah, okay.
Do you
I
need
just have a
something in
lot of people
particular?
coming to me with rumors and saying, well, it's gonna go here, it's gonna go there, and I was just curious on.
They have submitted no plans to the planning board or anybody associated with the town.
When you guys decided to purchase that in January, so you guys came together and said, yeah, we just want that building? Is that how it worked out when that first purchase and sales agreement in December took place?
Yeah, I know. I think this was done in executive session, we talked about it there, I don't know exactly how this information got out, but there's not a lot I can say really.
Okay, because it just, I don't wanna cause waves, but anybody who has is plugged in a little bit can see how, Denise, it seemed like she was, hand walking Acadia to purchase it after we had a purchase and sales agreement. So it leaves a lot of questions open. Like, we had a purchase sales agreement, then we didn't,
Well, we talked about it.
then Acadia came in,
Yeah.
and now they're not.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of pressure to keep it open, and I can read between the lines that took place, not by you guys, but by Denise. And,
The board authorized that.
sure, And
I mean,
there's a lot of pressure to keep it in Taylor's though, that was my concern.
Keep what in
Keep
Taylor's?
what?
Acadia.
No,
No, that was never.
not at all. Not at all.
It didn't seem it with all the rhetoric that was going on with getting sued and stuff.
We just couldn't do much about it. We were advised not to do anything to move forward to do it. Then the town, when you got the petition, that's when we moved forward and did what the townspeople requested. We were advised by our attorneys not to, we couldn't do anything.
Sure. And then that
So then we
Acadia
move
backs
forward.
out, isn't it kind of, it's a kind of like comical a little bit. Acadia backs out, and then all of a sudden we're jumping back in to purchase it? Like, what was that reason?
Well, I think we jumped back in, as we said at the last meeting, to purchase it for a town office area. I mean,
That's my curiosity, is what happened between the first purchase and sales and this last one, and Acadia dropping out, like, it's just, it don't seem right, man. Like,
I mean,
Denise and many of us on the board were asked by people in town why we didn't look at purchasing it after they knew Acadia wasn't, and even before that. So we were getting bombarded with that. Why didn't the town purchase it, keep it out of their hands? But
and do we know the reason why we didn't buy it in the first place in December? Why'd you guys shoot that check down in that purchase and sales agreement?
Executive session.
yeah, it's an executive session, we can't, we just didn't, John. We
So
did.
we'll never know what took place with that? I get it.
We didn't.
I understand
Nothing I can
this.
say. I got a question over here first, Chad. Yep, so go for it.
The only, a question I have, you were gonna buy a $600,000 store, and you people up there do the appraising of the store, and you only appraise it for $210,000. How come it was so cheap up there? But when John, for example, if he wanted to buy the building, he'd have to pay $600,000.
Well, that's what, isn't that with all of our places though? I mean, isn't that with all of our places that we have, our houses? I mean, our houses now, I mean, I hear of, where's the one I just heard about? There's one right down here on Locust Street that they're asking $200,000 for. I mean, that's, the person who's selling it has that
They
right,
can
I
ask
guess.
whatever they want.
They can ask what they want for it, right?
Right.
Well, we just have to decide if we wanna pay that.
So, but I mean, you take this guy's house down there, that $200,000 house, what happens if he has all kinds of big stuff in it, like this one up here on the corner, you have it, it's empty, and you got a big price like $210 on it.
I don't follow you, I guess.
Well,
Paul.
and I don't know if I really follow you, Rob, but say, like right now, just say somebody's house, the town has it valued at $100,000. Tomorrow they go sell it for $300,000. Guess what the valuation's gonna be tomorrow? $300,000. We up it by percentages, but when you get a new sale, that comes in to the assessor's office, and that's when that dollar amount gets valued completely at what it just sold for. But today, it's not gonna be valued at that, even though we upped the different and made the valuation go up some for tax purposes, it still is not all the way up to what it could actually sell and what somebody would buy it for.
Okay, I understand that, and the thing about it is though, is these people in town here that get their taxes raised up, and probably the most expensive building in the town is not even at the top of the scale.
It's a formula that the assessor puts in, and it's still, that valuation went up. It's a formula that they get to put in, okay? But when that sells, it's gonna be at the 100% valuation what it sells for.
Okay, so if you people take and decide to buy that building, which I didn't hear, the only thing I heard in the meeting in June 10th, the only thing I heard, we didn't want it in Main Street, we don't want it in town. That's what they were saying. I didn't hear anybody say, we're gonna buy it for $600,000. Now, if you want to sell it for that, I agree with you, it's perfect. But it's not something which you can just all of a sudden pick up and move. It's gonna stay there, just like the one across the street from it. Nothing's happening to it, but why should you still have it so cheap?
We'll have to ask the assessor. I mean, that's a question you can answer.
Okay.
Chad?
If you wanna really open the can of
I got
worms-
one in front of you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Chad?
My question is, what's the dollar amount on, like, purchasing that building without a town vote okaying it?
Well, there would not been a purchase without a town vote. That would have been the next thing.
So you did a purchase agreement without knowing if we could buy it or not?
It said in there it was contingent upon a town vote. If the
Right.
town did not vote for it, it was not gonna happen.
Right.
That was, and that hearing, that public hearing was loud and clear. People that were here at the public hearing did not want that to be purchased, so it was shot down right there that night. It was never gonna be put onto the town meeting, because that's where it would have had to go next, was town meeting for the people to vote on it.
Mr. Wood?
Yeah, hey, if you wanna open a can of worms,
Okay.
you could go around willy-nilly saying, geez, that building's worth a lot of money, and this building's worth a lot of money, and increase those without the benefit of a certified, appraisal of all of that. That's a slippery slope. I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go select board concerns. Mrs. Doyle?
I just have a reminder that we have a ambulance AMS meeting Wednesday, tomorrow, actually, it's Wednesday, right? And then the quarterly, which we need 3 board members to come, is the following Wednesday. Tomorrow's just the regular meeting.
It's the, executive board.
Executive, right.
Right. And next, the 23rd, we have a meeting for everybody.
For everybody, right. And it's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock in Anson.
And that meets in town office, so just so you know.
Mrs. Estes?
I have a couple of things. The first one, because Heidi's here, I'm gonna ask about the audits. The current year audit, that's being worked on right now?
Yep, RHR has all of their preliminary paperwork that they need, and they're working on it, and they said they would get back to me as soon as they needed more and taking the next steps.
So, the previous year's audit, obviously it's been done and it's been completed, and it was
Correct.
very late.
Yep.
Okay. But usually, the auditors come to the board and do a presentation, and we didn't get any of that.
First I'm hearing of it, I don't know. I know RHR, it wasn't even finalized until,
Almost June.
it was like May,
I
mid-May.
knew it was late, and I finally stopped asking because I was just, I knew it was very, very late, that was very unusually late, but usually they do, and they will ask if, I'm sure they talk to you guys about it.
No.
Okay.
About the,
About the audit,
presentation.
the final audit, they don't come to you and talk to you about it after?
They presented it to us, they gave us the paperwork and everything, but they didn't say anything about a presentation.
They
And-
usually, that's usually been a thing,
Can we ask them if they could?
yes.
Oh, yeah,
We can
absolutely.
wait till this next one's done and just ask them maybe to go with both of them, I mean, that'd be kinda nice.
Yep, I mean, again, this is the first time hearing of it, so I would have bugged them if I had known.
Right, and if you don't know, you don't know, and that's fine. Ron may have this on his question, but the Anson Madison Sanitary District, we were gonna ask them to come to the next meeting, how did that
We
end
put,
up?
we put it out to November 25th.
Okay.
They couldn't make it in October,
Mhm.
and they didn't wanna wait till December, so we talked about the 25th. We're waiting for, Jim Lloyd got back to us today, and he said he's able to be there, we're waiting for Dale and Peter to answer.
November 25th meeting, okay.
That's gonna be a special meeting. We only have a meeting in November on the 18th.
Oh, okay, so that'll be a
He
special.
couldn't make that one, yeah.
And then I have one more thing, and that is to discuss policing at our next meeting, if we put that on the agenda to do that. I
Mhm.
think we have, a local town that kind of may have some interest, so I'd just like to see if we can, see what we'll do with that.
All right.
Can you give me any more, just policing?
I just want to discuss anything new with policing. We have a town, a local town, a budding town, Skowhegan, that has shown some interest. We'd just like to kind of pursue that.
Something with the town manager to get a hold of them.
I don't know, do we? I've done a little bit of research of my own. I don't know, I don't know how you wanna.
I think we wait and talk about it next meeting, but if you want her to talk to the town manager and Skowhegan to see if they have any interest, that would be okay.
Yep.
Woody? I'm sorry, were you done?
I'm done, yes, I've had enough, right?
No, I was just gonna ask about, when we're gonna meet with the sanitary district, that's all.
Okay, I have, I'd like to put the SRO on our next meeting to talk about that again. And I'd like to ask the town manager if she can get a letter out for us to Madison Electric, thanking them for their work done this past weekend and keeping the power on. And the second letter to Central Maine Power, asking them why every time the wind blows, the lights go out. I mean, I'm not trying to be a wise guy, but I mean, I don't know if that was a tremendous storm this past weekend and the lights are out forever.
So the generators out there in the country.
That's why we get generators. I mean, I just think the wind blows and we, and the power goes out in the country. I think that to me is a bit unacceptable. You can be as direct as you want, Mrs. Town Manager.
Thanks.
Well, I'll sign it if you want. I mean, if you want to, I'll sign it. But I mean, I don't know. What do the people think? I mean, do you think that's, I mean, is that legitimate?
I agree with you wasting your time, because
I know, they're gonna tell us when we get them cut, when we get them cut.
Is it because of trees that go down, is that?
I think it's a bunch of factors. I think, I don't know exactly why, but I mean, Madison Electric seems to clean the trees off and get them away from the lines, and the power stays on, so it's gotta be some correlation to that.
I don't know, they were out cutting trees on the Bagley Road, and I still lost power so I don't, right?
That's the Bagley Road.
trouble is, the power comes from so far away, it's just might not be your road, it might be coming down from Bingham, there could be something between your place and Bingham, just like my place, so.
Yep.
So I heard that we're on the Bingham Grid where I live on the River Road. And so I put a stink about it because I'm a Madison resident. And they told me, and you guys all know this, that I can't get it because there's contracts with the poles or something like that. Is there really nothing we can do to like make them, like, I don't know, pull their poles and we'll put new ones in? I'll pay back.
I don't think there's anything we can do other than to bring it up to them.
And I tried, and they told me to pound sand.
We did this a few years ago, and we sent a letter, and they, thank you very much, and that's about all it was.
Not only is the rate awful, as you know,
Yeah.
it's dealing with 25-mile-an-hour winds and you lose power for 36 hours.
Yeah. So.
They're trying though, like you see them over there trying to clean trees and stuff, it is rural, but it's just, I think it's bunk that we don't have Madison Electric where we live.
Yep. Gotta live close to the town, John.
Yeah, I like where I live, I'll stay there.
Okay, looking for a motion to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A. I have a motion and a second to go into executive session of personnel matter pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A. All those in favor? All in favor, the motion carries. We're in executive session at 7:45.